In January 2026, one gold Camaro crossed an auction block in Florida and sold for $1.815 million. This car had never won Le Mans or taken a championship. So why did somebody pay more for it than any Camaro in auction history? Because this wasn't just another Yenko. This was the first 1969 Yenko Camaro pilot car, the machine that proved Chevrolet's own rules could be beaten with Chevrolet's own paperwork. And the badge on the side only tells part of the story. Most people see the name Yenko and picture one man, Don Yenko. But this car only became possible because four very different men pushed the same idea from four different directions. A racer with the nerve to demand more, an insider who knew where Chevrolet hid the side door, a drag racer who had already learned how to make a 427 Camaro survive, and an engineer whose earlier work helped prove the swap wasn't madness. They were never all sitting in one secret room, drawing up this exact car. The truth is messier and much more interesting, because by the end of this story, one question becomes impossible to ignore. Did Don Yenko beat General Motors, or did Chevrolet quietly help him beat its own rules? Start with the man whose name made it onto the fender. Don Yenko wasn't a dealer pretending to be a racing driver. He was a racing driver who happened to run a dealership. He competed at Le Mans, won 4 SCA national driving titles, and in February 1969 won the Citrus 250 at Daytona in a Camaro, with names such as Parnelli Jones and Peter Gregg in the field. When Yenko said a Chevrolet wasn't fast enough, he was feeling the problem through the steering wheel. Years earlier, after repeatedly chasing Mark Donohue's Mustang, Yenko wrote that he was tired of looking at its rear bumper. So he built the Yenko Stinger, a race-bred Corvair that proved he could turn an overlooked Chevrolet into a serious competition car. Then the Camaro arrived, and Yenko saw the perfect shape for his next weapon. There was only one problem. General Motors had a corporate policy that kept engines larger than 400 cubic inches out of cars such as the Camaro. The normal order sheet stopped at 396, but Yenko wanted Chevrolet's 427. He wanted it immediately. So in 1967 and 1968, his dealership did it the hard way. Brand new Camaros arrived with smaller engines, and Yenko's shop converted them to 427 power. The cars were fast, but the process was expensive, slow, and difficult to scale. Sources commonly document 54 Yenko Super Camaros for 1967 and 64 for 1968, before factory installation changed the economics of the program. Yenko didn't need a better mechanic. He needed a better route through Chevrolet. That route ran through Vince Piggins. Piggins was Chevrolet's product promotion chief and is widely remembered as the father of the Z/28. He understood the official world of order forms and the unofficial world where racers needed parts the public options list would never show them. The key was COPO, Central Office Production Order. COPO existed to handle unusual fleet and special purpose requests, police equipment, taxi hardware, special paint, and heavy-duty components. Boring things. At least, that was the idea. But a system that could approve unusual parts for a fleet could also approve unusual parts for a dealer who knew exactly what to ask for. Yenko had already begun using the COPO system for special Camaro equipment by 1968. For 1969, the breakthrough was COPO 9561. That code put Chevrolet's iron block L72427 into the Camaro at the factory. Then COPO 9737 added the so-called sports car conversion package, including a larger front anti-roll bar, 15-inch wheels, and a 140-mile-per-hour speedometer. The loophole wasn't a hidden tunnel under Chevrolet headquarters. It was 2 codes on an order. That was enough to turn a forbidden engine swap into an assembly line build. But paperwork alone doesn't teach a small car how to live with 7 liters of big block violence. That knowledge had been built the hard way by people such as Dick Harrell. Harrell was known as Mr. Chevrolet, and the nickname wasn't marketing fluff. Before the factory-built 427 Camaro existed, Harrell had helped pioneer dealer-installed 427 conversions. He worked with performance dealers including Nicky, Yenko, and Fred Gibb, and later contributed development work around Chevrolet's aluminum ZL1 427 program. Harrell's contribution to the Yenko story wasn't that he signed the 1969 1969 pilot car order. It was that he had already helped answer the dangerous questions. How do you package the engine, keep the driveline alive, and put the power down without turning parts into shrapnel? And beside that early conversion world was Bill Thomas. This is where the legend often gets too tidy. Thomas was not the secret designer of this exact Olympic Gold car. His importance came earlier. Working with Nicky Chevrolet and alongside Harrell, Thomas helped prove that a 427-powered Camaro could be engineered, converted, and sold as a new performance car. That upstream work mattered. By the time Yenko pushed for a factory-built solution, the basic idea was no longer theory. People had built it, raced it, broken it, and learned from it. So the four-man version of this story is not four men around one table. It's four roles converging. Yenko supplied the demand, Piggins supplied access, Harrell supplied hard-earned drag racing knowledge, Thomas helped prove the engineering concept before the factory program existed. Then Chevrolet supplied the weapon. The L72-427 was rated at 425 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. It used 11-to-1 compression, a solid lifter camshaft, and a Holley 4-barrel carburetor, and its bloodline reached back to one of Chevrolet's strangest secrets. In 1963, Chevrolet arrived at Daytona with an experimental 427 called the Mark II Mystery Motor. It used canted valves and helped shape the big block family that reached production as the Mark IV in 1965. Hot rodders came to call Chevrolet's production big blocks rat motors. So beneath the gold Camaro's bonnet sat a street engine whose basic architecture had been sharpened by racing from the beginning. Was the factory's 425 horsepower rating conservative? Enthusiasts have argued about that for decades, but the prototype gave them something better than an argument. It gave them a timing slip. Before Chevrolet could build the full run, it built this car, the first 1969 Yenko Camaro pilot test car. It left the Norwood plant in Olympic Gold with the L72-427, an M21 4-speed, a heavy-duty 12-bolt rear axle, power front disc brakes, and the double COPO equipment. It was also one of only 10 1969 Yenko Camaros painted Olympic Gold, and the only documented gold example fitted by the dealership with Atlas cast wheels. Then Yenko did something that separates real performance cars from showroom legends. He handed it to a drag racer. In 1969, Ed Hedrick drove the prototype for Superstock and Drag Illustrated. The preparation was simple: slick tires and open headers. Across 6 passes, the best run was 11.94 seconds at 114 miles per hour, an 11-second quarter mile from a nearly showroom-new, factory-engined Camaro in 1969. That number is the moment the paperwork became real. The COPO codes had worked, the engine fit, the car survived, and the result was quick enough that Yenko used it in his own promotion. After its test duties, the car served as a demonstrator and was eventually sold to Ronald Welsh. It was driven, raced, and photographed at the Strip. Then, in 1987, collector Cliff Ernst bought it directly from Welsh. Decades later, the car still carried its original L72 engine, original BE code rear axle, original trim tag, and original interior, backed by period paperwork that connected it to the beginning of the program. That is why the auction price went nuclear. On 17 January 2026, the bidding reached $1.65 million. With the buyer's premium, the total became $1.815 million. The previous Camaro auction record had been just over $1.09 million. This car didn't edge past it, it smashed it. Not because it was the fastest car in the building, or because Olympic Gold paint is priceless by itself. It sold for that money because collectors weren't buying one of 201 Yenko Camaros. They were buying the first proof that the 1969 program could exist. The first pilot car. The first factory-built answer to years of expensive dealership conversions. The exact point where a corporate restriction, a clever ordering system, and years of racing experience collided. And that leads to the real payoff. The Yenko Camaro is often told as a story about rebellion against Chevrolet, but the deeper truth is more complicated. Yenko needed Chevrolet. He needed its engine, its assembly line, its ordering system, and an insider willing to make the system work. Chevrolet, meanwhile, needed men such as Yenko, Piggins, Harrell, and Thomas, because large companies rarely move as quickly as racers do. The corporation created the restriction. The people inside and around it created the escape route. So maybe this car wasn't built because 4 men defeated General Motors. Maybe it was built because 4 men understood General Motors better than General Motors understood itself, and only one of them got his name on the side. So here's the question. Who deserves the most credit? Don Yenko, for forcing the idea into reality? Vince Piggins, for opening the factory door? Dick Harrell, for helping prove how to make a 427 Camaro work? Or Bill Thomas, whose early engineering helped turn the concept from fantasy into something dealers could actually sell? And one more. You have just paid $1.815 million for the first 1969 Yenko Camaro. Do you lock it away forever, or do you fire the rat motor, ease out that brutal clutch, and give the car one more run? Tell me below. This is Paul at Rare Car Stories. See you down the road.